This video will explain important mapping concepts so that you can understand and use GIS more effectively. Reference maps and thematic maps are two major categories of maps. Thematic maps can be further subdivided into quantitative and qualitative maps. Quantitative maps map numeric data, such as volumes or rates, while qualitative maps have a theme, such as patterns, flows, or regions. A reference map's main purpose is to orient the reader to an area, showing locations with labels. They're the most common types of maps. You've seen road maps, maps of the world countries, a map of attractions at Disney World. These are reference maps. They show the names of places and help you find your way around. Thematic maps' main purpose is to map themes or numbers, possibly not even showing the names of the places on the map. The emphasis of qualitative thematic maps is on patterns, regions, movements. A quality theme could be agricultural regions or immigrant flows. Quantitative maps use map symbols to indicate numeric data, such as percentages, volumes, or densities. Some examples of quantitative maps are choropleth, isorhythmic dot density, proportional symbol, cartograms, and flow maps. In the GIS world, of course, it's possible to display, print, and use many types at once, including reference layers and thematic layers. Notice on this map, which is a reference map, it more or less answers the question, what countries are there in Africa, south of the Sahara Desert, and what are their names? A good title for this map might be Countries in Africa south of the Sahara Desert. On this map you have regions of Native American groups before Columbus, 1492. Notice on this thematic map that no places are labeled like lakes or continents or oceans or anything like that. And the map's focus is on patterns or regions of Native American groups. Colors in this case don't indicate quantities, but just qualities, which group was where. In this map, now we have entered the realm of a thematic map that is quantitative, and this map type is called a choropleth map. It's very common in a GIS and very easy to create with ArcGIS, ArcMap. In that program software it's called Graduated Color Map. Anyway, you can see that the political units are shaded using shades of a single color, usually, sometimes a couple of colors. Data is mapped by political unit. That's the key feature. Isorhythmic maps is another type of quantitative map, thematic map. And you can see that on this one, lines join points of equal elevation, and that the isorhythms themselves do not follow political boundaries, because the natural phenomenon, in this case elevation, does not follow political boundaries. This map is not very common in ArcGIS. It's a little more difficult, multi-step process to create in ArcGIS. Here's another isorhythmic map. In this case, the colors have kind of taken the place of the lines, although you can still pick out the lines if you were careful looking at the legend and comparing it to the map colors. Now in ArcGIS or in a GIS world, this would actually be a raster, and it would be easier and more common, easier to create than true isorhythms. This is a dot density map, another type of quantitative thematic map, and very easy to create an ArcMap. Notice the key quality is that many dots of the same size represent quantities, and the dots are not exact locations or cities. On this map, one dot represents 100,000 people, but it's just a general location, so that a dot represents 100,000 people in that general area. On a proportional symbol map, the symbols vary in size based on the quantity of data being represented. In this one, line thickness represents the railroad freight traffic density. Thicker lines, thinner lines, less railroad freight traffic. Again, these are very common and easy to create in ArcGIS. Now this is a great map to look at. It has lots of symbology on it and is a representation of the complexity of maps, what you can create using a GIS. Notice that the pictures of water are proportional symbols. More water in the picture means more water available in the country. Less water in the picture means less water available for the country. In ArcGIS or in ArcMap, the personal pictures of water would most likely be imported as picture symbols. The acid rain symbols are isorhythms. Notice lines joining points of equal acidity. Thicker lines represent more acidity and thinner lines less acidity. So notice that the isorhythms, one technique of thematic mapping, has been combined with proportional symbols, a second technique, in order to help the map reader. And land use, whether it's grazing land or forest, is represented by colors. In the GIS world, these would be rasters. Finally, land use, threatened fisheries, and polluted oceans would all most likely also be rasters in ArcMap. Here's a cartogram, and you can see it's more or less a combo diagram map. The map areas don't vary according to land area, but vary in size according to some quantity that you want to map out. And notice that the exact relationship of the countries is a little bit distorted. You can't really make this in ArcMap unless you have some sophisticated script written. You're not going to really be able to create this in ArcMap. Finally, the last type of quantitative thematic map is a flow map, and you can see that arrows in this map show movement, and the thickness of the arrow represents the volume. So in some ways it has a thematic map just showing flows and no quantities, and it also has something in common with the proportional symbol map, kind of a combination map. It's pretty difficult to create this in ArcMap. You would need some graphics software most likely.